The grim news for Labor isn't limited to federal politics. Queensland's election is slated for the 24th of March and the polls point to a massacre with Anna Bligh's government reduced to a rump. The formal election race began yesterday and, as John Taylor reports, it's shaping as a very bitter contest.
For most of the last 23 years, Labor has had a lock on Queensland. From Wayne Goss in 1989 to Peter Beattie, and from 2007, Anna Bligh. But successive polls now predict time's up.
It may be this is one of those epochal changes that the Labor Party gets swept out of office and we have a new era of politics.
On any reasonable analysis of this election, the government is as good as dead.
The Labor faithful still love her, but it's everyone else who matters now. Perhaps Premier Anna Bligh's biggest challenge is to get people to listen and appreciate what Labor has done for them for so long.
Now is not the time to walk away from that. Now is the time to hold firm. Now is the time to stick with our program. Now is not the time to risk all of that with the Liberal and National parties.
Are you all fired up? Yeah. Hey! Too right.
The man who wants to bring Labor's reign to an end is Liberal National Party leader Campbell Newman, a popular former Brisbane Lord Mayor.
Sadly, what Labor's had for the last 20 years is the same old tired crack record, the same old songs, the same old tune.
The burbs of Brisbane will decide which song ends up playing. Greater Brisbane is the key election battleground. Labor holds 34 of 40 seats here, but Campbell Newman is the first Brisbane-based leader of Conservative politics in Queensland in a century.
The LNP have to win 14 seats on a swing of about 4.5%. It's not insurmountable, and it's certainly achievable based on opinion polls. But above all, the LNP have to win Brisbane seats.
Are we going to make this happen for Queensland? Yeah!
Change, however, is not something that Queensland embraces.
What's interesting about this election is we don't see changes of government very often. If you look at the last century of Queensland government, there have been basically two changes of government. 1957, when Labor lost office, and 1989, when the National Party lost office.
And here comes the leader of the coalition, Rob Borbidge.
The last Conservative Premier was in 1996. He governed for just 2 and a bit years, a Rob Borbidge blip, defying the tradition of winning for decades.
I mean, it's been incredibly hard going for the Conservatives. We should have done better in a couple of elections, but we managed to do some silly things that caused problems, and then, of course, no one will vote for a house divided, and then that played into the hands of the Labor Party. So Labor's had a bit of luck.
Campbell Newman was Lord Mayor when he decided he wanted to be Premier, and after resigning, he has led his party without being elected to Parliament. He needs to win a seat, and his choice, the leafy middle-class Ashgrove in the inner west, is safe Labor. He needs a 7.1% swing, a much greater margin than what it will take the LNP to win office. You've said that if you don't win Ashgrove, the LNP's not going to win government anyway. But that's just nonsense, because there is a chance that you cannot win Ashgrove, but the LNP can win government.
Well, I've been asked this a few times, and it is a matter of opinion, and respectfully I say that I don't believe, in my judgment, that we will win the state election if we don't win Ashgrove and seats just like it. The final point I make on that one is, look, I'm not a political commentator, but go and have a look at some of the most respected political commentators, people like Mackerras, people like the ABC's Anthony Green. There's a plug for him, a great commentator. Look at what they're saying, and I think that sort of rests the case, actually.
On current polling, the LNP will win the election and Newman should win Ashgrove. But as the election approaches, if the polls close, then the whole prospect of the LNP winning and Newman losing would become a possibility.
The contest for Ashgrove is fierce, and both parties are expending considerable resources to win it. And yesterday, when the election race formally began, both Campbell Newman and Anna Bligh went to Ashgrove.
Clearly, we've had to make some tough decisions as a government, and I understand that in this job it's often not easy. But over the next 5 weeks, I'll be out there talking to people about how those tough decisions have delivered the prosperity, have delivered the opportunity that's sitting right in front of us right now.
But even before formal campaigning began, there have been harsh words, in a way that's more personal than the usual political attacks.
Queensland is run today by drunks, punks and desperados headed by Anna Bligh with her dirt unit.
Those people are behind jails, and Campbell Newman will end up there as well.
The government has also attacked the extensive business dealings of Campbell Newman's wealthy in-laws.
We now face the prospect of a possible LNP Premier whose wife and family's company is being investigated by the FBI for trying to profit from our floods by possibly using US military secrets.
They are people who firstly were ultimately immigrants to this country, who came with nothing, who've built that through their own hard work. And anyone who knows them will know that's the case. And I think perhaps they're more a role model, and they should be celebrated for what they've achieved.
It's a bruising contest, and after nearly 2 decades, Labor's continuing longevity is going to rest on an election 5 weeks away.
What I'll be doing over the coming weeks, the next 30 or so days, is just talking about the issues and talking about our positive plan for Queensland to get it back on track.
It's going to be, I think, hotly contested, and so it should be. The right to run a great state like Queensland should be hotly contested. I'm up for it, and I know that my team is.
Should be fascinating. John Taylor.